Hey there, welcome back to my studio. Today I wanted to do a Rocky update and do a Rocky-centric painting. I normally do sketchbook stuff, but I thought I'd do like a tiny painting today just to do something different. For those of you who don't know, Rocky is a kitten that we rescued a couple of weeks ago, probably a month ago now. But he was really skinny, had fleas, he was found in the road, and he had like a concussion and stuff and worms and all that, so he was just gross and like this skeleton thing. For the first couple days we had him, he wasn't walking or moving very much, so we were just kind of feeding him and letting him be. He had like feral behavior, so we don't think he was owned by anybody. There were a lot of theories in the comments of the original video that were talking about what they thought maybe happened. Some people thought maybe a hawk dropped him. The theory that I think might be the most accurate is that he was up in a car, the underside, and that he had jumped out once the car started moving and maybe hit his head then, because he had like a scratched up chin and he wasn't like crushed by a vehicle. So that's what I think probably happened, is he jumped out of the bottom of a car when it was moving. So anyway, he came to us and we took him to the vet and have been feeding him, and I just wanted to kind of update how he's doing. But to start, I'd like to get started on this painting. I pre-sketched the lines on this because it's just kind of boring. So I did a couple thumbnails in my sketchbook to see kind of what idea I wanted to go with, and I kind of liked this idea that he's holding a mug with hot chocolate or something because it's fall. So I took that, did like a sketch in my sketchbook and did some like color ideas. I kind of had this idea in my mind that he would be drinking hot chocolate with like morning light hitting him. I'm not really good at lighting, so I wanted to practice maybe using some lighting effects. And then I did this pencil sketch. So now that I have the pencil sketch, I just go in and do a wash that kind of is outlining the gradient of light I want, so the blue and the shadowy area to the kind of morning light area. So after I do the wash, I kind of just get the base colors down. I did like a digital kind of color picker situation to figure out how to do the colors I wanted to do, because as you go to the dark side, it's going to be more blue and washed out, and then as you go to the light side, it's going to be more warm and accurate to the colors. And I just wasn't sure how that was going to look just from my brain, because again, I haven't done like a ton of lighting and stuff, so I just kind of muddled with the colors from there and got kind of like the base colors down. The browns turning out more of like this grayish blue green on the left, and then on the right it's more of the warm browns with more yellows in it maybe than it would normally be. So yeah, just getting those base colors down, making some of the fur detail be highlighted and saving the ear tassel areas for last because it's going to be overlaying whatever background there is, and kind of getting that lighting in the like white fur bits. Like none of the white here is going to be a true white. Any white I'm using on the right is going to be actually more of a tan yellow color, and any white on the left is actually going to be kind of like a medium tone blue. Also, some people have been curious about what supplies I use. Since I'm doing watercolor painting, I typically use Winsor & Newton, their professional line of watercolor paints. I think they're economical and also a nice quality. I've tried other brands and they're fine, but I just kind of like the consistency in the pigments and how they behave for how I paint. So anytime I stray to another color, they just kind of behave slightly different based on how much they're mixed or what pigments they use to achieve that color and like pigment quality and stuff. So even though Winsor & Newton might not be your top quality, it's just whatever works best for you and how you like to do art. Like whenever I dab with the paper towel or let it dry, the way some of the colors pigment or the way they lift works for me, whereas you might use these and it might drive you insane because that's not how you use them. So it's good to just get a couple brands and experiment until you figure out what you like. As far as more Rocky update info, for a while we kept him in a cage and then obviously let him out and he would play more once he was walking and feeling healthier. And the last time we left off, he was fully out of his cage during the day, but at night we would put him up to go to bed, because I kind of wanted to train him to be kind of calmer at night and then more active during the day, so kind of showing him the schedule of things. And then also, if I'm being honest, I was just kind of worried about his well-being, so keeping him in the cage overnight let me have a chance to monitor him, but then also because he was feral, it gave me a chance to keep him under control, or like having a way where he was being regularly socialized and touched and handled and had a routine that he was aware of. After a while and he was getting bigger and getting more active, we decided to let him have free reign in the house, because also he was getting along better with Jack and Moonshine, my 2 other cats. So we now have him out at nighttime, and he has not destroyed anything yet. He's not very destructive, but he's also very tiny still, so that could change. But he's been doing very well. He did go through this phase where he would run away from you anytime he saw you, even though he was totally fine with human contact. I don't know if that was like a weird instinct of his, or he was still like really small, so I don't know if maybe he's just overwhelmed by large sized things approaching him, even though he was comfortable with them, so just maybe just the instinctual fear taking over. And I think we've officially moved past that, because now he doesn't run whenever he hears loud sounds or sees people, and he will approach you more often now, so I think he's just more confident. One way I worked on him with that, because I knew it would just probably just take time to get his brain in a different place and also just to grow and be more confident, but some things I did is I would have a treat in my hand already, and then I'd go pick him up. Even if he was running, I would go get him, and then I'd feed him the treat and then put him back down. So he'd associate with like me approaching and picking him up equals a good thing. So I think a combination of that plus just time and confidence just helped him get over that. So back to the painting, I rendered in the mug. I did a green sweater because I thought that'd be nice, but I rendered in the mug, again getting the lighting tones in there. And the marshmallows, I thought it'd be kind of fun if he was like licking at the marshmallows, because when they're in the hot chocolate cup, they're kind of melty, so maybe he was licking that up. Getting the foam color, because hot chocolate always has like this lighter color on top and then it's dark inside of it, so kind of getting that across was a little difficult at first, but I think I got it to a decent place near the end. I think the lighting on the marshmallows turned out really well as far as the blue to yellow tones, which again, I'm not super comfortable with lighting, so this was not something that I was used to doing. So all things considered, I think it is turning out all right. Once I got the pattern on the sweater down and kind of everything where I wanted it, other than a couple other top details, I had to do the background. But even though I wanted the idea to come across that it was morning light coming in on him, I hadn't really considered what the background would be to make that come across. So I took a photo of the painting as it was and brought it back into Procreate to maybe experiment with what I wanted the background to be. And I tried some solid color backgrounds and some pattern background ideas. And I think I kind of landed on this like nighttime background, because I think morning light and campfire light can be, in this case, interchangeable, or they can be changeable, because the light's only coming in from one side and it's kind of a yellow glow anyway, and the blue would make me think that maybe the nighttime is coming in from this side. So I felt like that was probably the best move, because I didn't plan very well for what context is the morning light hitting him in a room, and what does the room look like behind him. I just don't think I was ready to tackle that conundrum. So I'm going with this nighttimey background with stars, and I think that turned out really well. So after I got the background down, I could put the ear tassels and some like tiny whisker details on. Normally I would go back in and do like colored pencil and whatever and like add more embellishments or details, but I was kind of just focused on the lighting aspect with this drawing, so it's hard for me to kind of want to go back in and put more stuff on top of that. I think I kind of accomplished what I wanted with this painting, even if it's not exactly what I'd normally do or what would look like something I would normally do. But I think it looks cute. It looks kind of like a kid's book painting. So that is the final painting, and now I can just talk about Rocky and quit stringing you along. But yeah, so in general, he's been doing really well. He's been getting bigger, but not big. Actually, I could probably grab him now that I'm done painting. He's right here, actually. You probably hear him batting a ball around in the audio. But here he is. He's much bigger than last time, but he's still not very big. He's like super floppy when I pick him up, so he's not being very easy to like display. That's what's funny about him, is if you grab him, he just kind of melts. Right now he's like, what are we doing? But he is doing super well. He's getting really fluffy. He kind of like grew really slowly for a bit, and now he's like finally fluffing out. For a while, he just had like a sleek coat and like just a puffy duster tail. And as you can see, he's turning more into a tube because the fur is coming in and his tail's kind of like matching the length now. And he's still got the tassel ears. I think because of the tassel ears, I think he's gonna be like super extra fluffy, because even Mooney, she's a long hair cat, and she doesn't have she's like a long hair pretty cat, but she's not like those big fluffy, like if you look at a Norwegian forest cat kind of fur where it's like really fluffy. I mean, from his first weigh-in at the vet, he was, I think, 1 pound or something. And then when you went to the vet recently, like I want to say a week or two ago, and he was like 2.45 pounds. So really not that impressive of growth, but I think he had a lot going on that he had to fill in and recover from internally. The vet thinks he might be, when they were talking to me, 16 or 17 weeks based on his teeth, which would make him incredibly small for that age. Ooh, he doesn't want to be held. But there's also a chance he might not be that age either. There's really no way of knowing. You just kind of have to wait and see. I think he's just going to be a tiny guy just based on his size now and the speed he's growing, but other people think he's going to be huge. A lot of people think he's a Maine Coon because of his coat and his chin, which if you look at a Maine Coon kitten picture next to Rocky, I'll hold him up just so you can take a screenshot and then go look up a Maine Coon kitten. They just don't look the same. He doesn't have the big ear tassels. He doesn't have like the long chin muzzle. He has more of a round face. He doesn't look like a Maine Coon, and his size doesn't reflect that either. But he's still gonna be cute, even if he's not a Maine Coon. Even if he does get big, I don't think he's Maine Coon. He might have all cats have some weird mixture of all cats, but at the end of the day, if they are any kind of mix, they end up just being a domestic long hair, and that's okay to be as well. So as far as his, he had like a feline herpy thing with his eye where it was like really squinty, and I wasn't sure if he's gonna grow out of that, and he has not so far. See, it's the one on that one. But it's like not always super squinty. Sometimes they're both pretty similar, but it's like the eyelid itself looks like it's kind of just a different shape now. And sometimes apparently feline herpes can be so bad it does make their eye shape different, like the lids. But again, he's still young. He could grow out of that, but so far he's kind of consistently kept having a gimpy eye and a regular eye. I mean, they both function perfectly fine, but one just looks different. And it was a little runny, if you saw, which he'll probably grow out of that, or he won't. I have a lot of my barn cats have feline herpes, and they had it really, really bad the first year. And then now that they're like full grown, they don't really have it unless their immune system's down, like something like being cold or whatever. So I imagine once he's an adult, he'll probably have less eye runny days than not. So we'll just see, because some days it'll be totally dry, and then days like today, it's been on and off if it's been runny. So yeah, that's Rocky. He's become very playful, and he's very cuddly, and he likes to follow me around, and if I'm in the kitchen cooking, he'll just rub in between my ankles, and he's just a very cool guy. I'm glad he is with us, and he's been a really cool kitten to own. I have mostly older cats now, other than the barn cat, so it's nice to have like a kitten around again. He's not very mischievous, which has been nice, but I also think that comes with, if they have enough things to do and ways to have an outlet for their energy, I don't really think most kittens are that bad. I think you start getting into trouble when you have limited space or time or resources, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's just how some people's deal is, but I think that is going to affect the naughtiness level of some kittens, but also just a personality thing. I think his personality is just more sweet than it is naughty, I guess. So the last things I'll say about him is, as far as him being a kitten, we are practicing, since he's a long hair kitten, we've been practicing brushing him and clipping his nails, because I don't want him to be a terror when he's older, whenever I need to brush him or deal with him. So we practice a lot of being on his back, and we practice a lot of touching his hands and nail clipping and touching his ears. And I do this with all my animals though. I just make it to where they can be super manhandled. So good advice if you have a kitten, to just like get them used to being handled. He's getting all feisty now. Thanks for playing. Yeah, so next time you see him probably he'll be neutered. He's getting neutered soon, but we're gonna wait another 3 weeks, I think, and then he will be no longer a man and officially a pet. So that is it for Rocky and his update. He's doing great. He's the only kitten I've ever had where I was like, oh, I genuinely am kind of worried you're gonna die. But that was only for a couple days. It's just weird to have an animal where it's like, I actually need you to be in my room because I think you're gonna die. And it's not like I've had that with chickens and stuff, but not like a mammal. So that's been an interesting experience, but anyway, I'll quit yapping about him. Thanks for watching. Hope you liked the painting, and Rocky will see you next time when he has lost his manhood. Goodbye.